Next on Lit News, 21-year-old University of Wyoming student Matthew Shepard was found beaten and left for dead. He has since been taken to hospital as in a critical condition. He was an openly gay man. The perpetrators are also students Aaron McKinney and Russell Henderson. He was found by fellow student Aaron Kreifels on an obscure mountain path. Officer Roger Flutie reported him as being found laying on his back and tied to the bottom end of a pole. He was covered in dry blood, indicating a serious head wound. With the Tectonic Theater Project, I'm here interviewing Aaron Kreifels, who found Matthew Shepard that day. Aaron, would you mind describing what happened that day?
Well, I took off on my bicycle about 5 p.m. on Wednesday from my dorm. I just kind of felt like going for a ride, so I went up to the top of Cactus Canyon, and I'm not super familiar with that area, so on my way back down, I didn't know where I was going. I was just sort of picking the way to go, which now it just makes me think that God wanted me to find him, because there's no way that I was going to go that way. So I was in some deep-ass sand, and I wanted to turn around, but for some reason I kept going, and I went along, but there was this rock on the ground, and I just drilled it. I went over the handlebar, and I ended up on the ground. So I got up, and I was just kind of dusting myself off, and I was looking around, and I noticed something, which ended up to be Matt, and he was just lying there by a fence, and I just thought it was a scarecrow. I was like, Halloween's coming up. I thought it was just a Halloween gag, so I didn't think much of it. So I got my bike, I walked it around the fence that was there. It was a buck-type fence, and got closer to him, and I noticed his hair. And that was a major key to me noticing it was a human being. It was his hair, because I just thought it was a dummy. Seriously, I even noticed the chest going up and down. I just thought it was a dummy. I thought it was like some kind of mechanism. But when I saw his hair, well, I knew it was a human being. So I ran to the nearest house, and I just ran as fast as I could, and I called the police.
Thank you for telling us that, Aaron.
Hi, I'm with the Tectonic Theater Project interviewing Dr. Cantway, who was working the ER the night Matthew was brought in.
I don't think that any of us can remember having a patient in that bad of condition for a really long time. Those of us who've worked in a big city hospital have seen this, but most of us haven't worked in a big city hospital, and it's just not something you expect here. I mean, you expect these kind of injuries coming from someone going down a hill at 80 miles an hour, but to see injuries from something like that, it's horrible. And you just don't expect it from someone doing it to another person. Well, the ambulance report told us that it was a beating, so we knew. Your first thought is, well, certainly you'd like to think that somebody from out of town, this comes through and beats somebody. I mean, things like that happen, shit happens, but you don't want it to happen in Laramie. But if there's somebody who's been beaten repeatedly, certainly that's something that offends us. I think that's a good word. It offends us. Hi. I'm with the Tectonic Theater Project. I'm here talking to Harry Woods, who lives in the center of town, and he was going to talk to us about the homecoming parade.
My apartment has windows on two opposite side streets. One goes north and one goes south, and that is exactly the homecoming parade route. Now, on the day of the parade, I had a cast on my leg because of a fall, so I was very disappointed because I really wanted to walk with the people that were marching for Matthew, but I couldn't. So I watched from my window, and it was just, I'm 52 years old, and I'm gay. I've lived here for many years, and I've seen a lot, and I was very moved when I saw the tag on the end of the homecoming parade, about 100 people walking behind a banner for Matthew Shepard. So then the parade went down the back of the block to make a U-turn, and I went to the other side of my apartment to wait for it to come south down the other street. Well, about 10 minutes went by, and sure enough, the parade started coming down the street. And then I noticed the most incredible thing. As the parade came down the street, the number of people walking for Matthew Shepard had grown 5 times. There were at least 500 people marching for Matthew. 500 people. Can you imagine? The tag at the end was larger than the entire parade, and people just kept joining in. And you know what? I started to cry. Tears were streaming down my face, and I thought, thank God I got to see this in my lifetime. And my second thought was, thank you, Matthew.
Medical update for Matthew Shepard on Monday, October 12th, 4:30 a.m.
12 midnight on Monday, October 12th, Matthew Shepard's blood pressure began to drop. We immediately notified his family, who were already at the hospital. At At 12:53 a.m., Matthew Shepard died. His family was at his bedside. The family released the following statement. The family again asked me to express their sincerest gratitude to the entire world for the overwhelming response for their son. The family was grateful that they did not have to make a decision regarding whether or not to continue life support for their son. Like a good son, he was caring to the end and removed guilt or stress from the family. He came into the world premature and left the world premature. Matthew's mother said, "Go home, give your kids a hug, and don't let a day go by without telling them that you love them."
Hi, I'm Officer Rob Dupree here interviewing the accused Aaron McKinney for the murder of Matthew Shepard. Alright, buddy. How'd you meet him?
The fag, the queer guy. We were meeting at a bar. He asked us what we were drinking, what we were doing.
Okay, tell me what happened after you met him.
He wanted a ride home, and I just thought, well, the dude's drunk. Let's just take him home. We drove him out past Walmart. We got over there, and he started grabbing my leg and grabbing my genitals. I was like, look, I'm not a faggot. If you touch me again, you're gonna get it.
What was the first thing that he did, or the first thing he said in the truck that made you hit him?
Well, he put his hand on my leg, slid his hand like he was gonna go grab my balls.
When the defense team argued that McKinney did what he did because Matthew made a pass at him, I just wanted to vomit. Because that's like saying it's okay.